Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the CarPod. So today we're going to be talking about IB World Religions. So at Hoover, World Religions is a standard level class, so it's only 1 year, and it's an elective, an IB elective here. And the teacher, Mr. Wendell, goes through different religions around the world. Obviously,
We'll talk about it later.
Of course, there's someone playing their music.
Should we restart?
No, it's okay. Of course, there's someone playing their music. That's just further proof that we are actually in the car.
But we're not driving because we have not said that yet.
Yeah, we're not actively driving while recording this. So anyway, world religions. So Mr. Wendell goes through 6 or 7 religions, each from different regions around the world and different origins, and just we go through the belief system, we go through how they are in modernity, all that fun stuff. So I took this class last year, and Claudia is currently taking it. So we brought our friend, our classmate, Addison here, who also took it last year, to talk about it with us. So Addison, if you want to introduce yourself.
Hello, my name's Addison. I'm a senior, and I'm doing full IB diploma. I took World Religions last year. It was my favorite class ever. I would take it again if I had the chance. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
So Addison, why did you decide to do IB?
I chose IB because I really wanted to push myself academically. So I came to Hoover 10th grade virtually, but before I was in 9th grade at a different school, and they didn't have, the only at higher level classes they had were AP, and it's something I was always scared to do, AP classes. But when I got to Hoover, I heard about IB, and I was like, well, if all my classes are IB, then, it should be okay. And I chose IB. And I didn't do pre-IB 9th grade, but, I'm making it through. And that just shows you can do anything you put your mind to,
Right.
I'm being inspirational right here. But also, I really like the idea, especially coming to a new school, of being in a smaller community and making friends. So I'm happy with my decision.
Absolutely, yes. So, you said you're in full diploma.
Mm-hmm.
So do you want to talk about your CAS project?
My CAS project. Okay, my CAS project, I hosted a dodgeball tournament. It was probably one of the best things I've ever done. I hosted a dodgeball tournament in order to encourage physical activity within the IB community, which is something
we need it.
something not that doesn't go on a lot in the IB community, but that's what we did, and everyone had a lot of fun. My team did not win, unfortunately, but that's okay. It's okay. I'm not salty about it at all, I promise. Maybe a little bit.
Very definitely is.
Yeah. Definitely. Anyways, and then my EE's on chemistry, specifically how salt affects solubility in medication. It's okay.
It's okay.
I would recommend not choosing a chemistry EE if you have the chance. But we're making it through,
Yeah. I'm sure it'll be great.
It will be.
Yeah.
It'll be okay.
It's gonna work itself out.
Oh, for sure.
Absolutely.
Sure. That's how the universe works,
Yeah. Do you learn that in chemistry?
Oh, for sure. For sure.
Okay, so I guess we can shift to world religions.
My favorite class.
So do you want to give an overview of what religions is and talk about what religions are all learned about?
Yeah, so religions, we just, obviously learn about religions, but specifically, you start out with the Abrahamic religions like Christianity, Judaism, and Islam. Islam, my bad. And then you move on to Hinduism, Taoism, and Buddhism, and then we learn about Jainism in Mr. Wendell's class, which I personally was one of my favorites because it's something I never heard of.
Yeah, Jainism is really cool.
And then also we take more time looking into Islam and Buddhism, I want to say.
Or was it Hindu?
Or was it Hinduism?
We haven't
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we're still in Taoism.
Oh, it was our in-depth studies because that's something you need more for the exam. But I haven't gone into that since last year.
Right.
So.
I don't
I
even want to say anything.
I think it's Hinduism.
I think those are right. I think that's right.
It's definitely Islam. Definitely.
Yeah, Islam was definitely one of them. Because I remember,
It's one of either Hinduism or
Yeah.
Buddhism.
Yeah.
The other, I can't remember. I can't really go back and tell the podcast, but I'll go back and comment it on the YouTube video.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay, so, Mr. Wendell, one thing, while we're talking about, like, how the overarching class works, one thing Mr. Wendell told me to talk about was how, like, the class is, like, the easiest IB class.
Oh, for
Absolutely.
sure.
There's, like, very little amount of work that you have to do. It's just the tests and the reading. But you still do learn a lot.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like, I think I've learned the most in religions.
Yeah.
Out of, like, really any of my class. Like, I've absorbed the most information from religions. But it's, like, still also a really easy class. Like, very rarely do you have homework. The only homework you ever have is reading.
Right.
Yeah, I would say the same. I mean, obviously we have normal cohorts in world religions too, so it's not just IB. And the only difference is the IA and the exam, obviously. But I think the way Mr. Wendell teaches it is phenomenal. Like, the way, the 3 question sheets and the way we structure the writing of our IA, like, it's one of the easiest things we'll do. And I think, personally, I thought it was easy because I actually enjoyed really learning about it.
Yeah.
I thought it was really interesting, so.
So, you mentioned the 3 question sheet. Do you want to talk about what that is?
So each religion, you get a little sheet of paper, and it has the 3 questions. I forgot exactly what they were.
It's,
if I'm being honest.
How are we, like, what are we, like, what's the human condition? Where are we going, and how do we get there?
Yeah.
Obviously referring to whatever kind of afterlife, and then whatever practices you would do to get to
Right.
the afterlife.
So that's, like, different with each religion, and you answer those 3 questions on the sheet, and it's literally a sheet, mostly front, sometimes back, but that's the only thing you really need to, like, study for, you know, your test, and even the IB exam. That's the only thing I used for the IB exam, and it went well.
So how did the exam go for you?
Yeah, I got a 6 on the exam, which...
Okay, Addison.
Yeah, pretty good. And I literally just used a 3 question sheet. I put them on a slideshow, and I studied that. It was
Pretty
good.
smart.
Yeah.
So, do you want to talk about how the exam is? Like, what the papers are and stuff?
Oh, I don't know the exact details.
I think paper 1, it has all of the religions that we learn on them, and there's 3 different sections, and you answer 1 question from each.
Yeah.
So you're answering, like, 3 total. So the first one is, like, the Abrahamic religions. The other is, like, it's Islam, Buddhism, and Hinduism, and the other one is Taoism, Jainism, and another religion
one, but we
that
don't
we
learn
don't.
it.
Yeah, we don't learn about it. And then paper 2, I'm almost certain is the in-depth studies. So you'll answer the question 1.
It's just
right?
1 out of the 2. Yeah.
Right. And I think I answered the one about.
I answered the Islam one too.
Yeah.
I remember specifically it was the role of women.
I think, was it?
Yeah.
Oh, no. Yeah.
No, but, you know, Mr. Wendell, he covers everything, so it's really not hard to answer those questions.
Yeah.
If you're
And
ready.
our tests are
Yeah.
past questions from those exams. So, I mean, you get practice all throughout the year on answering them. So when you actually get to the exam, it's like second nature at that point.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think that covers the exam.
Mm-hmm.
Did you talk about paper 2?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
What was
So-
your IA about, Addison? I don't
Oh,
remember.
my IA, I did Jainism as, like, my main topic, but specifically I analyzed a painting. So when I was researching my IA, Mr. Wendell had a reading from a magazine. It was called, it was the Crow reading. I don't know exactly what it was called, but it was about Jainism and,
What the Crow Knows.
yeah, What the Crow Knows. It was the reading. And, Jainism is a religion I've never heard of before. I thought it was really cool, and so the reading was about these Jains that, you know, Jainism is all about, like, non-violence, you know, and so they do their best not to, like, kill or harm anything that's life at all. And so in the reading there was this vet clinic that, like, took care of all these, like, animals, specifically birds, and they tried their best, like, to, like, nurse them back to health. And there was this painting in the office of this king, and it was like a fable, and the story goes, this god morphs into, like, a pigeon, right? And this other god morphs into, like, a hawk, and the hawk is chasing the pigeon, and they fly into the palace, and the hawk is about to eat the pigeon, and the king walks up and he's like, "What are you doing?" And the hawk's like, "Well, I'm about to eat. I'm hungry." And the pigeon's like, no, don't kill me, blah, 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 blah. And the king's like, well, the king's a Jain, and he's like, well, what do I do? And so he himself cuts off his own flesh and feeds it to the hawk so that, one, the pigeon is not harmed by being eaten, and two, the hawk is fed and taken care of. And so that's I thought that was really cool, the idea how this fable fits exactly into what Jainism is, you know? Mm-hmm. And I analyzed that painting and wrote about it. I got a 7 on that too.
Okay,
so,
okay.
I won't say I'm an expert, but
but the World Religions IA is similar to the majority of the other IAs because you're not confined to just the religions that we talk about. Like, I did mine on voodoo, which, I mean, especially in the United States, has roots in Catholicism, but we don't talk about voodoo in anything, any of the religions that we talk about. So, I mean, you can do whatever religion that you can write about any aspect of any religion that you want to write about. So
I know there was a couple IAs on like exorcisms.
Yeah.
I thought that was cool. There's a lot you could write about. So
I'm writing mine. Okay, so by now you've probably picked up that Charlie has an infatuation with George Washington.
Okay,
and
well,
so Charlie's George Washington infatuation is like my infatuation with the Mormon religion. I just find it very intriguing. Yeah. And
so what is your IA about?
My IA is about the marriage practices in Mormon religion and how I'm comparing like the different sects of the religion and like how what their beliefs are in terms of marriage. So like no, I just lost the word.
Polyamorous? No.
Yeah, polyamorous.
That's the word? Okay.
Yeah, like polyamorous relationships,
like
but then also like
wives?
Yeah. But I also, because we haven't really gotten to that part of the IA yet, so, but if I have, like, enough words and stuff, I think I might also talk about LGBTQ in the Mormon Church, because I know, like, just recently, the Mormon Church came out as, like, accepting of LGBTQ.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
I think the only confinements that you have is that whatever religion that you choose, it has to be about either belief or practice from that religion. So,
but that's really what a religion is.
Right,
is
exactly.
beliefs and practices.
It's hard to not write about that when you talk about a religion.
There's just so many open topics. I think it's...
Someone in my class is writing about the Zoroastrianism.
Ooh.
Wow.
I don't know what they're writing about, but I just know that because they keep saying they're going to email people in the Zoroastrian church to get information, and so every day we keep bugging him about it. We're like, "Have you emailed the Zoroastrians yet?" He's like, "No."
Do you know what a Zoroastrian is? Because I sure don't.
Yeah, I don't know either. Yeah, I mean,
it's not something that Mr. Wendell covers.
Right, we don't talk about that. But just like with his history IAs, Wendell has like a whole file full of just random articles that he like cuts out of magazines or like prints out. So if you don't know like what topic that you want to do, because I didn't know what topic I wanted to do, but Wendell, so the book that you read from, it's like what's it called, God is One or something like that. And you read chapters from it depending on the religion, but he gave me a chapter on the Yoruba religion, and that's how I found my topic. So like I had no idea what I wanted to write about, and he was like, put this stack in front of me. It's like, here you go. Go crazy.
Like, if you've already listened to the history episode, we kind of talked about how he has, like, a file folder of topics, and he has that for religions, too.
I will say, Mr. Wendell, the way he teaches his classes, it makes it so much easier. Because when you write your IAs, you do it in sections, and it's like, he lays out exactly what you need in your paper, and he, like, gives you so much information. He has so many, like, sample IAs and stuff. Like, it's hard to not, like, get a good grade on it. Yeah.
Because I got a 7 on mine too.
Okay.
So. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I guess I don't know, anything else to talk about with the IA?
I don't think so. I remember I loved writing my IA and my history one. I think it's the way Wendell's like set it up, but like it's great.
Oh, in the World Religions IA, there's also like a personal experience part of it, I think. I know at least for mine, I included personal experience.
What was your personal experience?
Well, my family is from Louisiana, and Louisiana is pretty voodoo is pretty prominent in Louisiana. And, I mean, I have family members that consider themselves practitioners. And it's a huge part of, like, even if it's not necessarily the religion, a lot of voodoo practices are really prominent in African American culture. Like, Kwanzaa has a lot of rituals that you see in voodoo as well. And so that was, like, my personal connection. But then also there's, like, let's say you do a paper that has something to do with Catholicism. You can go and interview a Catholic priest.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you do something about Judaism, you can go interview a rabbi or something. Like, it doesn't have to be from your own life. Yeah. Like, I wish I could remember. It's in the 3rd section. I don't remember what it was called.
Wait, which one? You talking about, like, personal connection?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought that was A.
Was that A?
It's like, yeah, I think it is. It's like the first section you write about, like, in your introduction.
Oh.
No, I mean, also I would say, like, if you're going to take religions, like, when you're writing your IA, don't let it, like, defer you, like, if you don't think you have a personal connection to a religion, and, like, oh, if you grew up in this religion, like, you don't have to write about this religion for IA just because you have a personal connection.
Right.
Like, I've never even heard of Jainism, but my personal connection was with the art itself.
Yeah.
I mean, something that I've always been interested in is art and the meanings behind it, like how much you can say without, not even saying a word, just a picture.
Right.
And so, I mean, you can make any connection like that and still have a good IA.
And your connection could just be, I found it interesting.
Yeah,
I wanted to
honestly,
learn more about it.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't have to be something deep, really.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So we already talked about the structure of the class. We talked about exams.
IA.
So, any tips for the class?
Yeah, how do you...
Tips?
Studying...
Did y'all take notes?
I did,
I started notes at the beginning of the year, but, I mean, I stopped, like, halfway through, like, Judaism. like, writing notes in class, because, I mean, I think that, for me, like, just listening to Mr. Whittle talk, like, I was obviously interested in, so I wasn't, like, zoned out that much, but also, like, even if you don't, like, pay attention to every single word he says, like, he's gonna give you enough information on, like, your 3 question sheets to, like, fill out the test and, like, know, like, what you're talking about. Also, like, when his assignments, like, he doesn't assign many assignments, but when he does, like, it's information that, like, you're gonna use on your test,
right.
Right. So...
Like the readings that he gives us, annotating those.
Yeah. I would say, the reading is probably the hardest part. Because,
really?
Because I think that is...
I'm really not so great at reading comprehension.
Yeah, the book is, like, a little... It's a little outdated. Not that it's, like, the information's wrong. It's just, like, the way the author
writing style,
The writing style is, like, a little odd, and it's hard to read sometimes, but, like... It's not too bad where you're gonna, like, fail the class, obviously.
Oh, yeah. I'm not gonna lie. I think I got 100 on every single
No,
quiz.
I remember,
but
I've gotten 100, and that was on Jainism.
But
I love Jainism. Because I remember I was in 3rd period, and you were in second period religions, and every time I would come into class, he'd be like, we have a reading test today, and he'd be like, Charlie got 100, she's just great at reading comprehension. I was like, Charlie, gosh.
I'm only good at one thing, man, and that's it.
And then I would get like I would get 2 wrong. I'd feel so bad at myself.
Yeah.
But even if, reading comprehension is not your forte, it helps to, like, highlight. That's what that's a lot of what I did. Like, my paper would be, like, full of highlights.
Yeah.
And half of it wouldn't be relevant, but, like, still.
And, like, I wouldn't even say, like, worry about, like, getting, like, all your tests right. Because, like, he, like, would go over the reading itself, and, like, you'll understand the information by the end.
Right.
So I think overall, like, when I think about the class, I think of, like, preparing for the exam, and, like, everything he does in that class is, like, preparation. And also, like, you just learn so much. It's, like,
Right.
Going back to taking notes for me, like, I found, like, throughout, like, the different units, like, most of the information that he gives to us in class, like, when he's presenting is, like, background stuff, so you better understand it. So I don't really always take notes on it unless it's about something that's, like, connected to, like, that I have, like, a clear connection to, like, the 3 questions. So, like, I take very shorthand notes already, but so, like, it's very condensed notes from what I take in that class especially.
Yeah. I think, and also he gives you the opportunity, like, when he gives you you your tests back and your reading quizzes back to keep them, keep them.
Yes.
Because it lets you know, like, where, I feel like I said this in the history video episode as well, but it lets you know where the gaps in your knowledge are.
Yeah.
And so if there's, like, a specific concept or something that you don't understand, you can go back and, because he has videos, like the history videos.
Yeah.
Like on his YouTube channel, he has videos of him lecturing as well. And so if there's something you don't understand, you can go back and look at that, or you can go back to the reading and find that specific section, or you can just straight up go up to him and ask him to explain it, because he will. So, I mean, using past tests also helped me a lot.
One thing about Mr. Wendell is that he knows so much, and if he
Yes.
doesn't know it, he'll find it.
Right.
Like, I just remember I asked a question. I wasn't even in world religions. This was like last semester. I asked a question about the Zionist church, and I was in history the next period, and I get an email from Mr. Wendell talking about the Zionist church.
He said it to me.
So even if you don't know something, he doesn't know something, he'll find information for you, and it's pretty good information, I'd say.
So, yeah.
Oh, y'all said Jainism, right?
Yeah.
Was your favorite to
Yes,
learn
what was
about?
your
For sure.
I'm trying to think. I mean, Christianity was interesting. A lot of the information I knew already. But,
Yeah.
like, honestly, I think Judaism was really interesting to me. All of it was, like,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think like you said, I feel like a lot of the information from that class was it was just, I mean, it was so much stuff that I had never even had experience with.
Yeah.
And I feel like it makes you, it has a lot of real life application to it. But Judaism was really interesting to me because it's very tradition based, and Catholicism is as well. And so I was able to, like, draw parallels between, like, oh, you know, we do something similar to this, or we do the exact opposite of this.
Yeah.
But I also see why. Yeah. So I think maybe Judaism. And I think Judaism may have been the one that I knew the least about as well.
One thing that surprised me is how little I knew about, like, Christianity as a whole. And, you know, I grew up going to church and stuff, but, like, there's so much to each religion, and, like, the way... like, the amount of information you learn in that class, like, really surprised you how little you know. Like, I've obviously heard of, like, Judaism, like, in the past, but, like, the things I learned at that class, like, I'm obviously, like, still haven't forgotten. It's just, like, the amount of knowledge I didn't know about, like, certain things was insane, but I thought it was eye-opening, to say the least, you know?
Absolutely. And, I mean, it's crazy because with each, we have such a limited amount of time that you barely scratch the surface when learning about these religions. So, I mean, it makes me want to go and learn more. And, I mean, the world is becoming, even Alabama is becoming so increasingly diverse that as you meet new people, it just makes you more conscious, and I think even more tolerant in a lot of cases of just different people and their religions. And so I think in that way, it's very helpful as well.
Yeah. I will say I'm glad I took world religions, because I came into IB, like, I mean, growing up with mostly white friends half the time, but IB is so diverse, and I met a lot of people that, like, you know, they practice things I've never heard of before, and I took world religions, and at the same time I was, like, meeting all these friends, and I was able to understand, you know, their religions, and I was able to, I guess, I want to say, I mean, I just understood them better as people, and, like, it obviously helped in my relationships, you know, coming into a new school. But I thought that was cool, the way I saw parallels from, like, what I learned in class, and seeing that in real life with, like, my friends and stuff.
Right.
That's another thing, is kind of, like, helps you to understand, like, some of your friends' cultures that you might not have known before.
Like learning about Ramadan and realizing that, that's why you're not eating.
I remember Ramadan started last year, and I go up to offering her a piece of gum, and she's like, no, I can't have that. I'm like, what do you mean you can't have that? And she goes, oh, it's Ramadan. I said, oh, my bad, my
Right.
bad. And, you know, she got on to me about it the next day, so I swear.
But that's just all its personality.
Oh, yeah.
Too. It's just to pick on
Yeah.
you for as long as she can.
She'll make me seem like a bad person any way she can. I promise I'm not a bad person.
But see, like, because of that class, now you know,
Yeah.
you know? Like, because
For
I didn't know about Ramadan
No,
either.
if she told me it was Ramadan, I would say, what do you mean?
Right, like, what is that,
Yeah.
you know? So, I mean, I think it's such a valuable class.
Yeah.
Even if, you know, I don't know. Because, I mean, there's only 3, 4 IB electives that you can take. And so, I would suggest world religions. Like,
No,
I mean,
I tell all the juniors that take
Yes.
world religions, and
Yeah.
I say this all the time. But if I could take the class I would.
oh, yeah.
I would even take the exam again. I mean, I'm telling you, it was crazy. I loved it. I mean, also like it was like my first year in like IB in person, and like world religions was something I was so scared to take because I was like, I don't know anything about religions because I like grew up just Christianity, going to church.
Yeah.
But, you know, I loved it so much, and I would recommend it to anybody, for sure.
Yeah, for me, like, I didn't even choose religions, like, initially, because I was going to take business and management, but it didn't work out with my schedule, and I ended up in religions, and I, like, love it so much, and I'm so thankful I ended up in religions. Best 0 period ever.
Oh, goodness.
Sophomore year, I had
zero
a math
Okay.
0 period, then
Oh.
English 0 period last year, and now I have religions, and it's, like, the best 0 period ever.
I will say I could not do world religion 0 period. It's just 0 period in general.
Yeah. We had English 0 period last year. It was
Oh,
so fun.
I had Spanish. I do not like Spanish. Nothing against, like, all my Spanish speakers out there, but gosh, I can't do it. I'm bad at it.
It's okay. We're in the same boat. Addison.
I love you, Miss White, but gosh.
Right.
I wish I could drop out. I'm just kidding. I'm joking.
right.
No, I remember last year I had world religions, and then I had history right after, so I would just sit in Wendell's room 2
Right.
periods a day, but Mr. Wendell's such a great teacher, and we're best friends, you know?
Oh, yeah, totally.
My picture's on his wall. What are you talking about?
And now we have him for crew this year, which is, I mean...
it's great.
Yeah, I mean, having Wendell for two class periods was definitely...
Yeah.
It was just such a good
It's so
experience,
good.
except for when you had quizzes on the same day.
Okay.
Knowing good and well that he was going to give you a quiz in history.
No, those pop quizzes are the worst because, you know, they were almost every day and we knew it, but we were just hoping one day he would not have that pop
Right,
quiz.
right.
It always makes me laugh, like, when, like, the juniors are talking to him about, like, pop quizzes. They're like, no, give it to 7th period. Don't give it to the first period.
That was us last
That
year.
was us.
Yeah. Although, once again, I aced every single one of them.
No,
Charlie,
stop.
I'm
no,
sorry.
I mean, I
just had to-
wouldn't say I aced every single one because there was a few times that, like, I just did not watch the video.
Yeah.
You know, that's just how
Which
it works.
I mean, it happens. I mean,
But I would say if you watch the video, it's really not that hard.
oh yeah, and there's a little bit of reading, like we mentioned in the history episode.
Yeah.
Like, they're not hard at all.
Also, if you, like, just, I mean, you do so many pop quizzes, you have, like, so many, like, small grids. If you miss one quiz, no worries.
Right.
No worries.
Like it's not a big deal.
And that's another thing with, like, religions. Like, we were talking about the readings earlier. Like, yeah, sometimes it can be hard to understand. But, like, even if you, like, get 2 or 3 questions wrong, Mr. Wendell usually scales it.
Yeah.
And also, like, there's other grades that will help, like, make up for it.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other tips?
No, I mean as long as you pay attention.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Wendell is an interesting
Yeah,
teacher
guy.
and just individual. So I
general.
mean, it's not hard to pay attention. So yeah, I mean that would be my only
is
tip.
to take world religion.
Yes.
Yes.
You
Just-
should take it.
Yeah, just do it.
All the other IB electives, boo. Boo. I'm
I
just
wanted
kidding.
to take IB psychology
Oh, okay, true.
junior year, but there were apparently only like 2-3 people signed
Yeah.
up for that class. So they put me in world religions, and then now if I had to go back, I would never have signed up for IB psychology. I totally would have picked world religions.
I mean, if you take business management, go ahead, but you're missing out. You're
Right.
missing out.
yeah, I mean I think that's it.
Yeah.
You have anything left to say about it?
I love world religions. It's my favorite class.
I heart world
I'll
religions.
emphasis emphasize it as much as I can because it was so good.
I'm gonna get you a shirt, Addison, that says "I Heart World
I
Religions."
better see it soon. I'll wear it to graduation.
Yes. She's gonna wear it under her cap. Yeah.
Goes up on stage.
Yes, yes.
No, I'll have my dress on, but I'll wear the shirt over the
Yeah,
dress.
yeah. Okay.
Y'all be ready. Be ready. You know, I never back down on those things either. I will do it.
Right. Okay. If I get you one, yes.
Okay, for sure.
All right. Thank you so much, Addison, for
podcast.
coming to help
So
us with
welcome.
this. Really appreciate it. Thank you, everyone, so much for listening to this. Addison, what emoji should they comment if they're listening to this on YouTube?
You should comment an ice cube emoji.
Ice cube.
I got
Okay.
ice in my veins. I should have.
that was definitely different.
It was I'm just kidding.
Although Gabby yesterday said a line emoji and then
A lion?
rar.
Oh,
Yeah.
of course she would say that.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. No hate to Gabby.
We love Gabby.
I love Gabby. She's one
If
of
you
my
haven't
best
watched the
friends.
math podcast, go listen.
Yes, you should, because she's
I'm in math
on that
right
one.
now.
Oh, you are.
It's going pretty good.
That's good.
That's good.
Mr. Rutsky's a cool dude.
Yeah, I agree.
I hope he's listening.
right, Mr. Redsky,
Hey,
you're
Mr.
listening.
Rutsky.
We love you, Mr. Redsky.
I love your math class.
All right,
Okay.
okay. Thank you again, everyone, for listening to this. Thank you, Addison,
You're so
again,
welcome.
for coming and talking with us. And so we'll see y'all in the next episode.